Welcome guys to the first 10 question podcast. This is Brian Cockerill, Big Bad Brian. These are the first 10 questions that we're going to be asking multiple people over the next coming few weeks and months. So Brian.
Yes.
How old was you, mate, when you first got into crime?
Well, I'd never done anything really till I was about 26-year-old. Bumped into a lad called Lee Duffy, had a fight with him, beat him in red car, and it put me to the top of the tree where I live. So we started taxing drug dealers,
Right.
taking the money off them, taking the drugs off them, and we'd run about Teesside doing that. That's how I first got into crime.
26 is quite a late age to start, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was into training since I was 13 because I obviously got bullied as a kid, you see. So I trained from 13, I was 26 and a half, and that was the first time I had a drug, and I had cocaine. And then a few days later I had crack cocaine with them, but I'd only have it now and then, it wasn't all the time, so that was the very first time with taking drugs.
What started your life of crime?
Just the taxing. I used to work on the doors, I used to run the doors, I used to make maybe £200-300 a week. And what happened is I had a fight with Lee Duffy, I went to try and fight him again for another fight, and he didn't want to know, and he ended up phoning me up and saying, look, can we team up together? So we teamed up, and at the time we were arguably the best fighters in the country, you know.
Yeah.
And you see loads of the people like Lynn McLean and Roy Shaw, but they don't get on, and people like Ernie Buick and Sunderland and Viv Free of Newcastle, they don't get on. So we didn't get on at first, but we ended up being partners in the taxing. So that's how we got on. So we'd make, instead of making £200-300 a week, we made £2,000-3,000 a day sometimes, and 15 grand and 10 grand and things like that. So I thought, the stars are no good, so the evil side was, oh, money, you know.
From the back of your life of crime, how did you feel when you first got sent to jail?
First got sent to jail, I got done for failing to stop a driving offence, and I got 30 odd months. The police couldn't arrest me, they always come 20-handed, and I was in a house and I tried to run down the stairs, and I got hit on the head with a truncheon, and I lost my footing, and I fell into two police officers, and because it fell into the class as assault, and one had a half-inch scratch, I got 3 months for it, the other one got a broken watch, I got 3 months for that, so I got over 30 months for first time in jail. But it was scary going to jail, I'm not going to lie to you, because it was something the unknown. If you've never tried to go to saying, well, you're going somewhere where you've never been, you know, and you hear all the stories about jail, but no matter how tough and rough you are, or rough and tough, whatever you want to call it, it's still it's the unknown. But when you get there and they put you in a little cell and shut that door, you get a bit of a jump and you think, wow, when you're in this little cell with a little tiny window and the people in there, it was bad in the 80s because you had to pee in a bucket and do your business in a bucket, and
no TVs or anything,
nothing like this now, and you were just locked in a cell 23 hours a day, and you might get an hour's exercise. You know, it was really bad, especially for someone who likes training and being free. The freedom is the most.
Just going out and getting their breakfast or getting a coffee was.
Well, just being locked in that cell, even when you were getting your coffee and getting out, you were still locked in a prison. So you know you couldn't. It was like probably putting a wild silverback in the cage. That's what I felt like, you know. But you have to just get on with it and just do it. But it's not nice at all.
What regrets did you have during your sentence?
I wouldn't say I had regrets. I just. I think the regrets was that I got caught. But no regrets really, because if you do the crime, you've got to do the time. It's as simple as that. If you get caught, you've got to do it. So I had to do it with jail, and I'd pay a bit of tax, as if this, I call it paying your tax back type thing. So you've been doing loads of things where you've got away with it, and you get caught, so you've just got to do a bit of time. So I did that, and
what about missing like family, missing birthdays, treasured memories that you can't take back, basically?
Well, you can't have them back because they're gone, and you're in themselves. But sometimes we had some fantastic times. I met some brilliant people in jail, but a lot of them was like paedophiles, rapists, murderers, and I was in for a driving offence, and I was in like with murderers who shot people and killed people and things like that. So when you go to jail, even if you're only done one little crime, you go into jail and you end up coming out educated and do all sorts of things, burglaries and everything. So they educate you. No, you drink like this, or you rob him like this, or you do this, and you get educated in crime. So you come out and you probably can't get a job because you've been in jail, because nobody will give you a job. I mean, you could have an IQ through the roof, of like a rocket scientist, but you could be in a room with 200 people. You could be in a room and they're all thick as pig shit, and they'll pick that person because he hasn't been in jail because he hasn't committed any crime. So it just stops you, impends your life, and then you can't get a job.
If you could rewind your life, would you do it all over again?
Probably so, because I had chances of being a well-strongest man. It's well documented on what I was doing, the type of weights I was lifting. It's on YouTube and stuff. And I got an invite to the Britain's Strongest Man, and I was up there with trained with world champions and world strongest men, Britain's strongest men, people like that. So I was on the par with them. But obviously, I led the other side on the drugs, going to raves and things like that. So your training deteriorates, your cells deteriorate. So when you start taking drugs, when you start selling drugs, when you start taking them, so you end up getting in that little catch-22.
It's product to your environment, then.
That's right. Yeah, you're stuck in that, and then you're on them, and then you're like, you'll be on them 2 or 3 days. You start getting like sleep deprivation because you're not sleeping. So your mind, they're called drugs that alter your brain. So you take that drug, so it alters the way your perception thinks, the way you look at them and think, who's he, who's she, what's he doing? So you start getting paranoia, and the paranoia just gets tenfold and bigger and bigger. So you're just in a vicious circle.
Did you ever suffer from any learning disabilities? You mentioned you was bullied, but did you have any learning disabilities at school, or was bullying maybe a contributing reason to your life of crime?
Well, because I was from Scotland and I came down here and was a kid, I had a Scottish accent, and all my family are Scottish. I had dyslexia, and what a word, dyslexia. How can you spell that word? Even people are brilliant spelling, how can you spell dyslexia? So I couldn't even spell JCB. So them days, the teachers would ask you have to spell a word, and you couldn't spell it. They'd stand you on a chair, and then if you couldn't get it, stand you on a desk, they made you look like an idiot, put a D on your head and stand in the corner like a dunce. So you get put in the dummy class, they'd all call your names. But dyslexia is just, obviously we know it's an illness now, it's just a back of your brain.
It now, don't they, rather than
most people who had dyslexia are really, really clever. I mean, Albert Einstein had it, and Leonardo da Vinci had it, and people like Richard Branson got it, and Paul McCartney's got it, and people like that, so it's not that you think, it's just the way your brain thinks different.
What was it like at the peak of your crime?
Chaos, charged for murders, attempted murders on police, people trying to shoot me. I'd been shot, I'd been stabbed, I'd been hit with bars, I'd been attacked in houses. I had maybe 6 different places where I'd stay, had 5 or 6, 7 cars. I couldn't drive the same car because people were trying to shoot me, people did shoot me, people stabbed me.
We saw the scars yesterday.
I've seen them, like, when I drink water, I'm like a sieve. So I got attacked in a house with 12 men with guns and knives and bars, and they chopped me up and they left me for dead, and I got through it, and I just wouldn't stop. They're not beating me. I'm not getting bullied no more because I've got bullied as a kid. You're not going to back down to nothing. But I should have died that day really, but I didn't. I was lucky. By the grace of God, I'm still here.
Was it your time?
It wasn't my time though. So yeah.
On the flip side of that, what was it like at the lowest point in your life of crime?
The lowest point in life of crime would probably be when you were making thousands and thousands of pounds at the height of your crime. Everybody wanted to know you. Brian, I've drug a grand here, and you're making thousands of pounds, looking after people, doing the drugs, doing this, that and the other, and taxing dealers and taxing cars, and people running everywhere from the door, I need £500, I've got to pay the mortgage, I need this, I need that, and I just give them it, because when you brought them in council estates, you don't know the value of money, so it's easy come, easy go, so it was a bit like that. But when I hit the drugs bad, my brother hanged himself, and I ended up taking more and more drugs, and I got worse, and I was right rock bottom, and I was like suicidal, my head would go on saying, God, I don't wake up tomorrow, and I just kept in that vicious thing where I couldn't stop taking it. I would take the coke, and I'd take the crack, I get a bit more, I won't be paranoid, and you just get more paranoid, so it was just a never ending circle.
What was it like was the life of crime worth it?
No, not at all. I mean, nearly all my friends, I'd say 80% of them have been stabbed, shot to death, killed. The cemetery's full of people trying to be taxmen. I'm sat here and I'm just, obviously, the grace of God's kept me alive. I mean, we went to one place and 6 people ran up with guns and started shooting me. And because of these Dillinger handmade guns, they all missed, and shot the lad behind me who was 12 stone, I was 24 stone at the time. So I've been so thankful that God saved me to do what I'm doing now. So it hasn't just been 1 or 2 times. It's in the house when they beat me that bad, and they said, you haven't even got a broken bone, and I couldn't believe it. I was battered with that. You've seen the hammer marks in my head and the baseball bats across my head and everything, so I'm just really lucky to be alive because the others are all dead now.
Finally, what would your message be to our future generations?
I would say one thing, as I say, read this t-shirt and don't change your life and put down your knives, because the thing is, if you're going to carry a knife, even if you do it to show off to girls or whatever you're doing, or for protection, if you get into a fight, you're going to pull that knife in rage and you're going to kill someone just for the sake of 2 seconds. You're going to go one throat stab, kill someone, 25 years in jail. Yeah. And believe me, you won't like it. And later on in life, you might think it's clever and good when you're young, but when you get older, it starts eating away at you and it starts making you ill.
When you're doing 25 years in jail, you've got enough time to think about your actions and consequences.
Not one person who's done 25 years in jail has come out mentally fit, or they haven't come out, they've got scars, have been stabbed themselves in jail. It's a horrible place to be, but I think the best thing to do is, if you have suffered from mental health issues and you feel depressed and you're not getting a shave, you're not getting up and you're not going out, get help. Go for the doctors, get help, because there's people out there. Go to the church, join the church, which I've done. I was baptised a couple of weeks ago. Life's a different world now, it's totally different. And with my wife, life's brilliant. You don't need all that big money. You don't. If you've got 10-bedroom house, you can only sleep in one bedroom. If you've got 20 tellies, you can only watch one telly. If you've got 10 watches, if it's £100 watch or a £10,000 watch or a pound watch, it still tells the time. If it's a £10 throwaway phone, it's hello, goodbye. It's the same as a £1,000 phone, does the same things. So it's not all about materials. It's just material stuff. Some people live in a bedsit and they're happy and they're content. And they've got a little job and they might work on the bins or work at McDonald's, whatever. Not the best job in the world, but they put the food on the table. They've got no police coming to the door. They've got no paranoia. They're not on drugs, and their life is worth living because they're doing a good job and getting out of bed and instead of sitting in the house depressed. And I think you have to get a trade. If you get a trade, if you're a great boxer, a great runner, whatever you're going to be, you can still do that, but you still need a trade to fall back on. A lot of sportsmen, when they come to the end of the time and they can't do it no more, they get depression because they used to be the champion. So you've got to step back and do something else. So I just think, just don't carry knives. Keep away from. Some people say to me, you are what your friends are. So if you hang around with drug dealers, you'll take drugs. If you hang around people stabbing people, you end up killing someone. If you hang around in gangs, you're going to go to jail. So if you end up going to the gym with bodybuilders, you become bodybuilder. Or hang around with boxers, you become a boxer. So obviously keep away from that minority who's going to lead you down that wrong path. Because once you're on that wrong path, that's you gone. There's no good. You can't come back. Well, you can come back, but it's very hard to come back. So just and everyone should love each other and look after each other.
Brian, cheers for your honesty, buddy.
Okay, mate.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you.
I think you're doing fantastic what you're doing as well. So just wanted to thank you.